blood flow just starts to come to your brain, and all of a sudden it just feels like everything opens up, and you feel more aware. You feel your whole body just tingles. And you go, how could this work? I came in, got adjusted. 2 days later, just gone.
I have not been pain-free until I started with Jack a year and a half ago.
I didn't tell anybody I was coming because I didn't know if it'd work. I heard him on the radio, and it was kind of like skeptical but curious at the same time. So I decided I'd just come.
She was just an angel, and she, went out on a limb, and she gave me Jack's website. She said, he saved my life. She had had a neck injury, and she had gone through Jack. They were going to do surgery on her. She had been heavily medicated, and when she found Jack, he took care of her, and she didn't have to have the surgery, and she wasn't on medication. So I hung up the phone. I spent till 2 o'clock in the morning on the website, and everything that I read was my son Hunter, everything was everything that he was going through. And I was still terrified to come.
I literally came in here crawling. Everybody here was extremely nice. The place was packed. They could see that pain that I was in. They got me into a room and just tried to get me comfortable until Jack could come in and see me.
And then when my foot started hurting really bad, and when I had it x-rayed, it was arthritis, and I came in and I'm like gimping in here, and he's like, lay down.
When my appointment came, I limped in, and I sat down, waited for Dr. Stockwell. He adjusted me, and just like that.
Headaches had totally gone away after the second visit.
For the first time since I was 13 when I broke my left hip, I feel like there's hope for me to heal, and I'm 54 years old.
I said something about, what have you got for arthritis? And he said, come and lay down. And he says, which foot hurts? And I says, my right one. And he goes, well, that's the one that's about 1.5 inches shorter. And he says, that's why your arthritis is so bad, because, So, and I didn't realize how bad I really felt. Because I'd been so used to feeling bad. I mean, I couldn't walk. And so after I got corrected, it was like almost instant relief.
Last time he adjusted me, I got in the truck and I was just kind of moving around. I just felt my whole spine just line up. It follows the head.
He started rolling up his sleeves, and he goes, okay, now, it's going to look like I'm shoving his head through the floor. And all of a sudden, I'm like, looking at this big guy, and I got my little baby, and he just put his finger over on my arm, and he said, but it's only going to be this much pressure. And I started to cry. And he started to hold his breath, and I remember Jack saying, don't worry, I'm here. It's going to be fine. Just let me work on him. And I said, okay, and I started to cry, and I was just sitting there watching him hold his breath. And I'm not kidding you, he went to get to the point where he would almost pass out, and all of a sudden he took this big breath, and he didn't pass out. He rolled him over, and I started to cry even harder because it was the first time in months that he actually laid flat down without his back arched up. And he just laid on the table, and his legs fell apart, and he just laid there, and he was so relaxed and so calm. 2 weeks later, my son was a completely different child. He didn't have any of the symptoms. He didn't throw up his food. But everything within 2 weeks was gone.
He took x-rays of me, and he came back in the room with a big smile on his face, and he said, how would you like me to fix that broken neck? Well, he made the correction. It was the best day of my life. I left there pain-free. I felt like a bobblehead, and I could not believe it could be so simple. I was just left in shock.
Within about 15 minutes of him doing the NUCCA on me, it was like laying there instantly, the pain in certain parts of the body quit. I mean, pain that I was dealing with 24/7. The pain just didn't quit. Now I don't deal with pain at all.
My job is painlessly to bring that balance back to where it's supposed to be, so that the muscles relax, shoulders level, the hips level, the head and neck come back, shoulders fall back to where they're supposed to be.
After the first visit, I went home and I went running. It was like, I went running with one of my students that was probably 15 years younger than me, and just beating by forever, and just like, it just felt like a new person. The pain just was gone that quick.
I came in here, and within it probably took him about 10 to 15 minutes. And it actually, and he kind of warned me, it actually hurt worse the next day. But about 24 hours later, all the pain was gone and has been ever since. You know, like I said, this is a 10-year bad pain. So, and it's gone.
And you know, when you come in here cold and you don't know anybody, and the first person that smiled at me was Mary, and then Marcy, and then it's like, oh my heck, they're so nice. How come everybody's so nice? My first visit was strange because I didn't know what was going on. And when he laid me down on the thing and was pushing on my ear and I'm hearing all these funny little pops, I really thought this was unusual. And then he had me stand up and that was the funniest sensation because I took my first step and the floor, like it jumped up. My legs were so uneven, and I didn't even know this, and said, now you're fine, go lay down. And I'm thinking, oh, no, this isn't gonna work. Dr. Jack just has fixed everything, and it's all because he aligned me.
When he did start working on me, I did start to feel some relief that I was able to at least stand up and function. I literally had not gone to work for 2 weeks. I had not done anything for 2 weeks. He says there would still be quite a bit of inflammation. I told him that I had not had this much relief in 2 weeks. I mean, I was absolutely amazed with the one visit that I was able to even function. And I still had pain and there was still, but I came back in that day again and he worked on me again. I felt better. And for the next 2 days I came in each day, but since then I honestly have not had any trouble. But the relief he gave me was so contrary to what anyone else could do. And the fact that I was as close to having my back operated on, I couldn't have gotten any closer. So I do owe Jack a lot.
So I came up here and he adjusted me and it all kind of sounded hokey to me. And I could hear those, well, it sounded like knuckles popping. I'm like, what are you doing? So I stand up afterward and he goes, how do you feel? I said, oh, I don't know. I don't know, straighter or something. And I hadn't even thought about my neck then because it had stopped hurting. He said, well, you should be able to turn your head, and I could turn it all the way to the left. And then he said, well, and how is your posture? And it was totally, my shoulders were totally back and straight. And I freaked out again. I'm like, how did you do that? And it was just weird because it didn't seem like he did anything. And I do not get headaches anymore unless I try to go do something crazy and get out. And then I know immediately that I need to come back up.
And if you fall, you better get in here fast because they fix it immediately.